What's up, guys? Hope your day is doing well so far. Let's cut straight to the chase. In the last two Toby Fox Blue Sky posts, he mentions this new item called rotten tea. But what does it mean? What is it about? Well, that's the point of today's video, so stay tuned. But first, if you like the video and you like the channel, be sure to drop a like and sub to the channel. It helps me out a lot, and I'd really appreciate it. Thank you. Alright, so what all do we know about rotten tea? Well, first things first, let's talk about unrotten tea. So, this tea is sold in Chapter 2 in 4 kinds, one for each playable character. So we have Kris, Susie, Noelle, and Ralsei tea. And this tea's flavor and its healing amount varies depending on the type of tea it is and the character that drinks it. So there are lots of factors here, there are a lot of variables, lots of different ways that the tea can turn out. So for example, if Kris drinks Ralsei tea, it heals 60 HP, whereas if Susie drinks Ralsei tea, it heals 120 HP. And a very popular theory, and I say theory loosely here because it's essentially just like a fact at this point, is that the amount of healing, and even potentially the flavor text that like it says the literal flavor of the tea for that person that drinks it, corresponds to how much the drinker likes the character who the tea corresponds to, or maybe like their opinion of them, right? And a very popular piece of evidence for this theory is that now it's not possible to do it in-game, but the coding still exists in the game. If Noelle was to drink Susie tea, she would gain 400 HP. So obviously Noelle really likes Susie a lot, so that kind of puts the nail in the coffin for this theory, for being true, I mean, at least. And there's also the very interesting thing about Kris only healing 60, which is on the much lower end of healing for Ralsei tea. So maybe Kris isn't that big of a fan of Ralsei. Very interesting stuff here. Tea theory is great. There's plenty of videos on it, so go look for those if you're not already familiar. That about sums it up. We also know that, like Toby said, if we keep tea between chapters 2 and 3, it'll turn into rotten tea and only heal 10 HP to all characters. But why, right? Like, why would he do this? And that's kind of the point of today's video. But also keep this in mind, Toriel is going to be, well, no, I can't say going to be, is very likely going to be playable in the party at some point in Chapter 3. So we're going to have a new character here to kind of throw in the mix as far as the healing goes. Of course, Toriel won't have her own tea more than likely because that tea from Chapter 2 comes from an Addison in the city who sells you the tea. Doubt we're going to get a similar thing here, unless there is a different item that also does a similar thing, but I kind of doubt it. But assuming that there's not, here's my theories. Lore! There's going to be some crazy lore with the tea, and here's why. I'd go ahead and preface with this. I don't really think this is going to happen. This is not the most likely theory. I think they're ranked as far as likeliness goes, to be honest. So starting here, if Toriel was to join the party and the tea didn't rot, we'd be able to see what Toriel thinks of Kris, Susie, Ralsei, and Noelle, which could allow us to kind of get a glimpse into some lore that maybe Toby isn't ready for us to explore yet. Like maybe, because obviously Toriel knows Noelle from back when Kris and Noelle were good friends, and obviously the Dreamer family and the Holiday family are very connected, so it makes sense that Toriel would have an opinion of Noelle. Maybe there's something about Noelle that we don't know yet. And maybe, perhaps Toriel knows it, and we're not allowed to see her thoughts about it yet, right? And also, I think it's likely, it'd be very funny if it doesn't happen, that Toriel and Ralsei just won't ever, encounter each other at all. So, because it'd be very interesting and, like, very uncomfortable, and it would reveal a lot, I think, about what Ralsei is. I think that if Toriel drank Ralsei tea, it would kind of expose what Toby is trying to hide about Ralsei as well. So this is a possibility. Maybe there's some stuff here that Toby doesn't want to get leaked through the tea and its flavor text and its healing amount. So that's the first idea. Theory 2 is about Dark World food lore. Now this one is really stupid, I'll be honest. But it does also have some kind of merit as well. So the idea here is that the Dark World... The idea here is that the Dark World food can rot. So maybe it rots if it's taken to a different Dark World? Well, no. That's not true because the food from Chapter 1 is still fine in Chapter 2. So that's not the case. So that doesn't really tell us a whole lot, but the more interesting idea here is that the act of the food rotting. Now, rotten is a very, like, just gross word that doesn't really fit the fantastical vibes of the Dark World so far. What if this is a sign of the Dark Worlds starting to kind of show their true self in that they're a negative thing, right? I think one of the big themes of Deltarune is that the characters believe the Dark Worlds are a fun, adventurous place to escape and have a good time, right? And save the world and this and that. And that they might believe that they want to go to more Dark Worlds, like Kris opens a fountain, for example. Early wanted to open a fountain. So what if the food turning rotten and getting all icky and gross and this kind of like spooky, scary vibe is a sign of the Dark Worlds being a bad thing and not actually being something to be pursued? Like a warning sign, the first signs of things kind of deteriorating. And I do think that most people believe that there's going to be like a more of a psychological horror element going on here, especially as we get to the later chapters with the bunker, for example, and Gaster and this and that things are going to get pretty spooky. This could be the first steps towards that. So this idea does have some merit, I think. It's not like this massive, groundbreaking discovery, but I think that it makes some sense, actually. And then the last theory is that, this is the lame theory, but I think it's just true. This is that it's more practical. For example, if Susie T heals Noelle 400 HP, when Noelle just like inevitably joins the party again, that's busted. At that point, you just keep your Susie T, and it's an instant revivement on Noelle. Just right there for you, right? So I could see Toby wanting to kind of nerf that and not allow that to happen. Also, it could be really complicated as we get more characters and maybe their status and how much they like each other changes. Like maybe there's a falling out between ralsei and Susie for 30 minutes in the game. Does Toby have to now make the teas heal less for that 30 minutes? And add new flavor text? Like, ooh, this tea tastes bad, and this and that. I really don't think that he would, because he puts great attention to detail in his games. His level of detail in the flavor text and the secrets and the way things change other things and all the variables and stuff it's spectacular. It's great. But I don't think that he would do this necessarily. Like, he would, but I understand him not doing it, because it can get really complicated really fast, right? For the player as well. Like what if you drink or give Susie ralsei tea in a really important fight and it heals 20? And then you're cooked, right? So for both the player and the developer, I think it's fair that the tea rots and doesn't keep changing and getting new variables and new characters and new feelings moving around, right? So that's my main theory, my main idea as to why Toby chose to do this. If you have any other thoughts, be sure to comment them down below. I'd love to hear them. But another big announcement is that YouTube memberships are now available. So see that nice button that says join right next to my channel name? If you want to join the channel, click that. It has all the tiers, all the information there, all the same tiers and available content as Patreon and Ko-Fi have had previously. So you're not going to miss anything. You also get badges and emojis, so that's pretty neat. But yeah, all the content from Patreon and Ko-Fi are already posted on YouTube right now. So if you want to see it, check it out. I also have a video on the channel that I did not publish to subscriber feeds about all the tiers and stuff. So if you want to find that, it has all the information you need. But yeah, thanks a lot. And thanks for watching the video as well. If you made it this far in the video, you must like the video, so why not like the video? Also, shout out to supporters Rosie Pixels and Frisky for donating on Ko-Fi, Apple members like the Snake and A Herman24, Fruit Salad member, the awesome, amazing Calm Luke, and the absolute GOAT, the very tip-top, Crazy Juice member, Tybee. You are literally insane. Alright, with that in mind, I love you guys. Be safe, be smart, don't be stupid, and have a great rest of your day.